I'm starting a new series where I highlight books that are in my collection. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight books that are already slabbed by a third-party grader. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the book. And I'm going to talk about the grades of the book and if they can or cannot be improved. This is the first video in this series. Hey YouTube, it's Matt here. Right now we're going to start a new series where we're going to actually talk about books that are in my collection. And we're going to talk about the grades of the book, a little bit about the history, and how these slabs came into my possession. And right now I'm starting to have a very nice problem, and I've talked about in other videos, where I'm running out of room to display slabs. I think I'm going to have to invest in a lot of BCW books. But as you can see in my room, I have a lot of books that we can talk about in these videos. Alright, so the 5 books that we are going to talk about in this video, they're books that I've had for a while. One is Witchblade number 500. This was a wizard type of book. You would mail off, and then there would be a coupon in Wizard magazine. You'd mail off and they would send it back to you. This is the first appearance of Rogue. This is an 8.5, Avengers Annual number 10. Love that cover. I'm joking when I say that. It's like one of the worst covers ever for any key. But that's just me. This is a book that came out last year from Ablaze. This is Gung Ho number 7. This is a exclusive cover to the Reggie Collects YouTube channel. And we did one Witchblade. This is the first appearance of Witchblade. It came out in 1995. It's kind of funny. As I get older, whenever I hear dates, I remember back to where I was at that time. At that time, I was living in San Angelo, Texas, a great town in West Texas. And this is a Conan book. This is a Franzetta cover. Series number 3. This came out in 2009. So, Witchblade number 500 came out in 1998, and this has Witchblade Sarah Plezzi's, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but the main character, this is her children on the side here, and they are fighting alongside her. I like the back. There is a advertisement for Witchblade and Tomb Raider, the sequel. That was a great series. This book is a 9.8, but you can see the corners are not perfect on this book. But for the most part, this is an extremely well-kept book. This is one of the very first books that I ever bought. And honestly, I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I was just buying to buy. And I like Witchblade. And this is one of the reasons I bought. I love the Michael Turner art. I didn't know who Michael Turner was. No idea, never heard of him. But there was something about how he drew that I just really appreciated and really liked. And you can see, for the most part, these corners are very good, very straight. But if you look really closely, you can see little imperfections in it. But I don't care. It's still a 9.8, and this is an awesome book. Doesn't cost very much, isn't worth very much, but it's a great addition to the collection. This book right here came out in 1981. And this is known mainly as the first appearance of Rogue, one of the most popular X-Men out there. Now, I joked about the cover. Listen, a lot of people like the cover. I don't. It's just me. There's just so much going on with it. And then you have the big 10-speed advertisement on the top of it. I just always felt it looked kind of cheesy. But that's all right. Who cares? It's a first appearance of a great X-Man. What you're going to notice about this book is absolutely how disgustingly filthy this thing is. This graded out at an 8.5, and whenever I bought it in summer 2000 in a town of Foley, Alabama. There is a great comic book shop down there called Covert Comics. But this was on there, and you could see how dirty it was, and it's still an 8.5. Now, I have no delusions that this is going to grade out at a 9.8, but I definitely see this as a candidate of cracking, cleaning, repressing, and submitting it off to CGC to be regraded. I don't have the greatest experience with cleaning, and I don't want to practice on this book because it is kind of a grail, but I might send this off. This book right here is a pretty cool book for me to have in a collection. I also follow the YouTube channel Reggie Collects right here. This was his first exclusive variant that he did for his channel. And Yuko Smith is the person who drew the cover. And I just think it's pretty awesome. It was sent off to CGC, got a yellow label. And you can see the signature right here. Now this book right here, this is the Reggie variant. And this book kind of inspired me. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I ever do an exclusive variant, this book is going to be what motivated me to do this. Now you're going to see this is some pretty cool art. You can see the MIP paper, which is the acid absorbing paper. That's what was hanging out over. But how this will inspire me is if I ever do a variant cover, this book showed me that it is possible. And again, I'm showing you that corner. It's not a full perfect book, even though it's a 9.8. But there's the Reggie signature, which is what gave this a yellow label. And hats off to this dude because he literally has his face on a comic book. But this is a pretty cool looking book done by Reggie Collects. Now this book, this is the original slab that I bought back in 2003. This was the first book that I got slabbed. Now I didn't send this book off to be slabbed. I found a listing on eBay. And this is an old label. This is a 9.2. I just had a video about maybe cracking books that could get a grade bump with a press. And we're going to examine this book and see what flaws and see if it would be worth it to send off to get a grade bump. I'm not saying every book should be cracked and pressed and resubmitted, but I do feel that some of them can come back with a high grade. The fact that this is a 9.2 and I can see spine ticks on it, I'm going to tell you right now I probably won't send this back. But this is the first appearance of Witchblade. Michael Turner did a fabulous job with this. Love the art in that series. Now I'm somebody that I'm not against cracking a book out of a slab and pressing it and sending it off, but this book has a bunch of spine ticks and it will not be improved. That being said, this is the very first book that I have ever bought that was slabbed. And I keep saying it's the first appearance of Witchblade. It by far is not. That's Shyblade. And it's not this book. That's another book that I have, and I'll show that eventually. But I just wanted to have this cover. And whenever I first started collecting, 9.2 was a near mint minus. So I thought, hey, that's a pretty good book. And it is still a good book, but I could have got a better one, but I don't care. This is that first book that ever found its way in my collection in a CGC slab. So it's kind of sentimental to me. So I really like this book and I dig it and love having it in the collection. And Frank Frazetta, a tremendous artist, okay, the fantasy genre he was all about. But this was a series that came out by Dark Horse for Conan comic books. And so it was just kind of nice that they do these variants. This is the Barbarian cover right here. So this is a Franzetta series number 3. This is a book that is an example of an outstanding book shape-wise. Yes, it is a 9.8, and I talked about it earlier in this video. 9.8s are in pretty good shape, but they're not perfect. This is one of those books that, for the most part, has very, very, very few flaws, even for a 9.8. I think this could have been a 9.9 candidate, because some of the scratches and nicks you're seeing, they're just dust that's on the slab itself. I should have dusted the slab off, because those aren't on the actual book themselves. And for the most part, you can't see those little specks unless you take close-up pictures like I just did here. But I'm a big Conan fan, and Frank Frazetta is by far the most well-known artist of his genre. He's basically the guy that started the whole fantasy genre. So I love having these Frazetta covers. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this series of going over these books in a little bit of detail. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that subscription button and put a comment down below. But I want to thank everybody for watching, and you have a great day. Sure do.